Yeah.
and we all stop it together and we
Yeah.
go, "That's enough,"
Yeah.
which is a great movie with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
I was gonna watch it after this interview because I think it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
And we go
Yeah.
on Tubi, and you gotta watch the commercials.
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Growl. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Now you're telling me that's a full serving of chicken. I don't fucking believe you.
Okay, explain the bit because I think people need to know.
What's the bit? Oh, the bit. Oh,
the
yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman ordering at Chipotle.
Yeah, I was thinking like what I really wanted to do was train AI just to get like the dog shit serious Philip Seymour Hoffman voice down and just do like a really intense Chipotle order.
The chicken is wet.
I want to see the juices roll off it before you put it in the burrito. I'm not fucking joking here.
Shut up about the toppings. Yeah, I don't know.
You want me to come back there and show you how to do it? I can show you.
This is how the show starts, by the way. Every once in a while, Brian will message me like, "Hey, I got this idea," and I'll go, "Okay, tell me," and then and then we go back and
Something
forth.
really fucking stupid. Just
It's amazing. I love it. It's 48 minutes of dogs barking. My name's Jason. This is Brian, and we're doing
I know the walk is extra. You think I'm some sort of fucking peasant like you?
You're bordering on Anton Chigurh territory, though. So
What's the most you've ever lost on a rewards program?
call it. It's a burrito. It's a burrito, man. I don't know what you call it.
Do you own this taqueria?
Exactly. Welcome to the show, everybody.
48 minutes of Philip Seymour Hoffman would have loved a lot of things had he not checked out, had he not tapped out like a bitch, like a genetic bitch.
Why did you tap out, Phil?
I gotta get this story out.
Yeah.
So started my new job a couple weeks ago. Shit's tight, but I had like an orientation in a completely different building than the one I was going to be working in. I had my first day, as they would say, on the floor, and the role I interviewed for, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know what job position I accepted.
Sure.
I'm just like, it's a job,
Right.
The pay rate doesn't, like, whatever they're doing, I'm sure I am more incapable of doing. Or
Yeah,
what they're asking me to do, I'm more incapable of handling, which ended up most certainly being the case. And the position that I accepted, I thought was kind of like a support role that would be kind of outside of the hierarchy of like worker, minor leadership, supervisor, all that. That would be kind of like this thing that was out on its own. I did not realize I was in that chain of hierarchy. So first day, I'm just trying to learn the ropes. I'm getting a little overwhelmed by some of the like reports and stuff that we run to keep track of metrics, and just a lot of stuff kind of being unloaded at one point in time. And thankfully, that stuff was front-ended and then casually, slowly, and patiently re-explained over the next couple of days. Because at first I was like, oh shit, my imposter syndrome was fucking redlining. I'm like, oh fuck. So the team that I'm on and the team that we work most closely with have like a morning meeting every day. So we go stand in front of what they call a bullpen. And I'm like standing with a guy who's also a new hire like me. We went through orientation together. And I'm like talking with him, and one of the ladies from the other team is like, Brian, no, you gotta stand up here with us.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like,
I love how you accidentally became management.
It's just kinda-
fucking
it was
amazing.
like one of those things where like I thought I was getting a free car wash. I didn't know I was like subscribing to something. I thought I was just getting a free car wash.
It's like only you, man.
Only me. And so I'm like standing up there, and I've got my big fucking lovely water ball that my girlfriend got me. But I've got this. What does this sticker say?
Oh, that says death to fascism. Yeah.
So here it is, first day, minor leadership role, and I'm standing there with probably the biggest shit-eating grin. So confused. Just like, oh, I've really done it now.
Yeah.
I've really fucking screwed the. Lord have mercy on my soul. What have
stepped in
I
it.
done?
Yeah.
I have really stepped in, and I have drug it through grandma's favorite rug. I'm just like standing there, just like, oh shit. Oh shit. Here's my big old fucking death to fascism sticker on my water bottle, and I'm just like, oh no. Oh no. I gotta act like I'm a respectable person. Oh man.
Oh God,
this is-
why?
this is-
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh shit. And it turns out it really wasn't that. It's not really that bad. But that first day on the floor, I was like,
This is gonna be bad.
oh,
Yeah.
this is someone's going to get embarrassed.
it's
It might
probably
be
gonna
me.
be
It
me,
might be
yeah.
me. That was the most Jim from The Office, like staring at the camera moment I think I've had in my adult life.
Like we always do at this time, we're gonna take you through some stuff that happened on the internet this week that you might have missed. There is apparently a series of TikTok videos that some people are saying are AI generated about
They're so fucking weird. I've seen a few of these. They're unsettling.
Yeah, they are. So the videos say, "Oh, hey, don't scroll away." There was an animator who accidentally made a minion nailed to a cross.
I
First
would
of all-
love to know how you accidentally.
Exactly. There's not a button for that. I mean, granted, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're incredibly annoying and every boomer loves them. But here's a brief clip of some of these.
If you scroll away from this video, then what are you doing? Look, look, look. One day an animator was messing around and he created this picture of a little minion who was nailed to a cross. And you can
This may sound a little crazy, but you need to hear this about a minion. There was this animator that was messing around when all of a sudden he created a minion who died on the cross. And
If you scroll away from this video, then what are you doing?
What the fuck?
The idea, I think, is that some of these are these really pro-Christian TikTok people.
Okay.
A lot of the headlines will say, "No one can do what Jesus did." And so they're saying that this animator was a blasphemer and that there's only one Christ and all this stuff. But they're doing it in this weird, attention-grabbing way. The scripts are really similar. And that's what led people to believe that it was AI generated.
And so possibly like AstroTurf from like the Church of Latter-day Saints or something.
Yeah, it's
Or the Southern Baptist Cousin Kissers or something.
something like that. But yeah, there's...
LLC.
Yes, if you think a minion died for you, just
That
keep
was
scrolling.
rough, man.
But I have to let you know something. A minion didn't die for you. A minion didn't pay the price that you and me deserve. But Jesus did, because Jesus loves you. If you think a minion died for you, then just keep scrolling. But if you know that Jesus died for you, follow and subscribe right now.
And that was only 40 seconds.
Those 40 seconds that felt like a year.
Yeah. Not great. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. Block those people fucking immediately. So
Now speaking of things we have a hard time with,
oh yeah, this poor guy.
what an amazing brag.
French pole vaulter Anthony Amirati was attempting to clear a pretty high bar, and here he goes. Just about clears it, but his dick hits the bar. This Gladys Watching posting, Anthony Amirati failed the bar, and the commentators are clearly having a hard time acknowledging what happened. Cry laughing emoji, I'm dying. Because
Too hogged up for the gold.
And a lot of the comments are, this is why I choose to keep my penis as small as possible for the tactical advantage, that kind of thing.
I
But,
what a shame. He had good form.
yeah.
It just happened to be that his huge penis got in the way.
Whom amongst us? I mean, I'm really.
What a time to be alive.
And it's doubly funny because, like, man, he was gonna break a record. I think he was gonna clear 5.8. That's what he was going to do. He was going to clear 5.8, and he just missed it because his fucking dong hit the bar.
Just absolute. I mean, he shouldn't have any trouble at the Olympic Village.
No, God, no. Cardboard beds and all, yeah.
Here's the funny thing. People can still have sex standing up.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I thought was the stupidest thing about that. They're like, oh, these sex-proof beds. I'm like, buddy, these are athletic people.
Some of the wildest sex stories you will ever hear
right.
are Olympic Village sex stories.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't even come from the athletes. It comes from like people that like staffed.
Oh.
And like yeah, just people fucking on the roofs, like running out of condoms.
Well, they're running out of condoms, I believe. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's so much
But
fucking.
you gotta think, you're broke as fuck.
Right.
You're in a country you don't know, and you're with a bunch of other, hopefully conventionally attractive, at least athletic individuals.
True.
Iron sharpens iron, you know?
Amen to that. Yes, yes. We talked about J.D. Vance fucking a couch. While obviously that is not true, it has caught on so much so that VP hopeful Tim Walz referenced it in an acceptance.
Yeah, if I'll debate him if he can get off the couch. Amazing. Masterstroke. 400 electoral votes.
So the right have tried to replicate that to no avail, honestly, because this is the first I've heard of it. Apparently this was days ago.
It's so stupid.
I know. So it is a fake AP News article screenshot. Purports that Walz once had his stomach pumped because he, quote, drank a gallon of human semen. And then the facts. It was horse semen.
Oh!
Boo!
Ooh!
Boo!
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like someone got owned.
Yeah. What's stupid is, the stomach pump from the gallon of semen thing has long been a thing.
Yeah,
like
Rod
since the
Stewart.
Thank you. Yeah, Richard Gere, whoever.
Nicki Minaj, I think, or Megan Thee Stallion was even the victim of this.
I wouldn't be surprised if it
Yeah.
was both, or yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about Lil' Kim. You know,
Lil' Kim was yeah.
So
who I'm thinking of, but yeah.
it's anyone that you don't like sucking a bunch of dick. And it's so stupid. And then like, oh, you sucked off a horse, actually. Like, okay, is that the joke? The joke is that he sucked off a horse, huh?
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Maybe the horse was sick.
It was a Make-A-Wish type of situation.
The Make-A-Wish horse. Well, what if you're a Make-A-Wish kid and that's your Make-A-Wish is to watch a kindly old man suck off your prize stud?
I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that one, but yeah. So it was a guy named at @con_national. He tried to post it saying, Walz is weirder than JD Vance. It's so fucking dumb. Here's a post at Mangolith. Missed the whole point of why the Vance bit was funny because they're so obviously mad at being called weird. So they're trying to one up weirdness by steering into absurdist gallon of horse semen. And yeah, I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head there.
Are you trying to tell me this is horse semen, not human semen?
I'm sorry, Philip. We'll do better. I know it's in your writer, but it's written right in there.
Where's my fucking cashews? I'm gonna kill someone if I don't get my fucking cashews.
I can't see Tim Walz sucking off a horse.
No.
For a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I can see JD Vance fucking a couch. You see the difference?
Yeah. One is they're both absurd premises, but one is got a little bit more of a foot in reality than the other.
Right, and I think that's what really makes it here is the fucking. Oh yeah, he sucked off a horse.
All right. Do you hate children?
Exactly.
Then have a kid. Have a kid and punish them for existing.
Exactly. This is
post it on the internet.
This is a gentleman who goes by the @Sweaty Startup. Nick Huber here. I buy real estate and start companies. Owner of Somewhere, Bolt Storage, Recost, Seg, Titan Risk, Bold SEO, AdRhino, WebRun, RecruitJet, Spidex. Wow. So this is him posting, this kid saved up all week for an ice cream, spent $5, dropped it after the 5th lick. I didn't buy him another one. Life is hard. He took it well. Now, a lot of people are calling him Ice Cream Dad in a clear reference to Bean Dad, the guy who tried to teach his 8-year-old a lesson about opening a can of beans with a can opener. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's the exact same thing. No, this guy is doing this shit for clout. There's a difference.
Yeah, and also, why does your child look like something out of like an Abercrombie and Fitch magazine from like Victorian era? Like a haunted doll ass child.
Yeah.
That child yearns for the mines.
So someone said, I'll Venmo you $5 if you get that poor kid a new ice cream. Nick Hubert responding, they offered him a freebie and I declined it. Then that post got hit with a community note. Nick Hubert later claimed that no freebie was offered and implied this statement was made for engagement. And yes, he did reply to someone else. Their question was, why did you decline the freebie? It was his money, his purchase. You don't get to decide whether or not he will accept it. Nick Hubert responding, I didn't, of course, they never offered, but it made the tweet better.
Don't concede your grift, you piece of shit.
Giving away the game, yeah. It's very clearly someone just engagement baiting, and they got what they wanted. I mean, that original
Nick Crowder's going to fucking lure him to a second location and strangle him dead.
But he got what he wanted. That original post, 13K retweets, 94K likes, 20K responses. So yeah, he's going to get those Elon bucks whether we like it or not. The only thing worth less than Elon bucks is the Donald J. Trump token. That's right, it's Crypto Scam of the Week, baby.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
When you brought this up to me today, I thought you were talking about the other Donald Trump token that rugged majorly today.
Oh my God, there were two.
There were two.
It's a twofer, ladies and gentlemen.
So I have not been able to put as much time into researching this today as I want to, but I did look a little bit while I had some free time earlier in the day. There was a token, I believe it was either Eric or Trump Jr.
Okay.
Eric or Trump Jr. Were apparently getting in cahoots with some contract dev, and we're going to launch something.
Mm-hmm.
And someone front run them with like the ticker or the name. And it was supposed to be like Rebuild the Republic, RTR.
Oh.
I think it went up to like $150 million market cap and rugged down to 70 after whatever Trump fail son it was like, that's not our token. We're not involved with that.
Yeah, the CoinDesk here reporting a newly launched cryptocurrency on Solana called Restore the Republic, or RTR, which was rumored to be the official token of Donald Trump, ballooned to 155 million market value before cratering 95% on Thursday, that's today, after the former president's son warned his father doesn't yet have an official token. That was Eric Trump, by the way. Mm-hmm. He tweeted that he has, quote, fallen in love with crypto/DeFi. Stay tuned for a big announcement. And then RTR began soaring. Ryan Fournier, conservative activist and chair of Students for Trump, amplified that hearsay. Rumor has it, his quote says, that the official Trump coin is out, called Restore the Republic. That post has, of course, been deleted. Eric Trump popped the bubble and chaos ensued. He warned users of fake tokens. Yeah, the actual quote is, friends, beware of fake tokens. The only official Trump project has not been announced. You will hear it here first. It dropped 95% on that one. No, I was talking about something that happened 2 days ago. That was DJT. That was the one that was reportedly tied to Farmer Bro Martin Shkreli.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, back in June. Today, all the locked value was taken out by an unknown party. This is courtesy of Protos. Numerous accounts began to accuse Shkreli of taking the money, but of course he said no. I helped make it with the understanding. It was the official Trump token, not that this would happen. DJT is now down 90% from all-time highs, currently trading for 0.0004 cents. So
wow.
2 in a row.
Yeah, amazing.
Just 2 days apart. Oh, boy.
What a shit show.
Well, and you know, especially because Donald Trump recently, at some conference, I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been the Libertarian one, where he said, "Yeah, have fun with your Bitcoins or whatever it is that you're doing."
What are you playing with?
Yeah, whatever you're playing with, something like that. Just a real dismissal of the whole concept. And so, like, yeah, no, he's got an official. No, he does not. He doesn't understand what it is, does, or has for breakfast. This is financial advice. I'm telling you right now, do not invest in anything with the name Donald John Trump or MAGA anywhere near it.
First of all, you should probably stay away from crypto.
Well, sure.
But if you're going to fucking dip your toes in that water, like, at least don't get fucking hosed on the very first thing you buy.
Don't dump your life savings into it. That's what I would say. If you're going to do it, okay, $20 here, $30 here. If this shits the bed, I'm not going to cry about it. If this shits the bed, I'm not going to lose my house. Because it can be silly and fun, and it's a whole thing.
Whatever. I mean, you fucking want to gamble,
right?
And you don't want to leave the house. It's just such a murky situation, crypto, and it keeps getting weirder and more extremist and more desperate and sweaty. There's institutional adoption, and there is some government adoption, but I think probably the future of crypto is going to be much smaller than what the fucking moon boys and tech bros want you to believe. It wasn't Bitcoin supposed to be not as volatile as the stock market, and look how it's been for the last week or two. It was almost ranging like mid 70K, and now it's like low 50s maybe again. I can't remember. Like, I'm not paying attention that much right now.
Yeah, it
but
took
like
a
it
shit.
ate shit pretty hard.
Yeah,
that motherfucker double topped. And crater, the slowing. And you were asking me like what was going on. I'm like, well, the economy's slowing down. Interest rates were not cut as quickly as they should have been,
right?
By some people's opinion. So now we've got this. People are taking money off the table because it's safer.
So it's a shrewd move by certain investors, I guess.
How about that?
How about that? Well, how about this? We teased it last week, and we're going to do it. That's right, folks. We're talking about Lonely Girl 15.
We couldn't think of anything else.
No, hush. It's actually an interesting story. It's a fascinating tale because I did not know a good chunk of this until I started doing the research on it, and I went, oh, that's interesting. And so, how familiar are you with the Lonely Girl 15 phenomenon, Brian?
I remember Lonely Girl 15 being one of the first like big things that wasn't like copyright theft.
Well, there's that. Yeah,
that wasn't like a Linkin Park OMV or AMV or whatever you want, or the fuck it's called.
The anime music videos? Yes.
AMV, yeah.
It's Dragon Ball and Linkin Park, yeah.
Yeah.
The classics. Lonely Girl 15 was a YouTube project. Would it surprise you that it was fake?
No. It never really surprised me.
No. So this, courtesy of The Guardian, it's a great introduction to the concept. In June 2006, a 16-year-old girl began a video blog on YouTube. Her name was Bree. She'd been lurking in the burgeoning community for a while. She was a self-described dork. She thought her hometown was really boring. She was funny, friendly, and according to the author of this article, Alina Cressy, had great eyebrows. All right.
Pretty good eyebrows for that era.
Her first few videos were relatable and cute, introducing her friend Daniel, complaining about being homeschooled, and having to do homework in June. And so this was one of the first ones. First blog / dorkiness prevails.
Well, what you need to know about my town is that it's really boring. Like, really boring. Really boring. That's probably why I spend so much time on my computer. I'm a dork. I didn't really have a plan for this video blog.
So the videos were short, minute and a half, 2 minutes, and there wasn't much to them. There was Bree talking to you, the viewer, being what we would call adorkable. Just kind of relatable in like a totally normal girl way.
So random.
Yeah.
This is how people act before they get an adult like autism diagnosis.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fine. It's almost painful in its earnestness, isn't it?
Yeah, but like watching that video, I haven't watched any like Lonely Girl stuff probably since like 2007 or 2008. And I don't know, for me, maybe I'm just cynical, but I kind of felt the first time I saw it before I knew it was a bit like it was openly a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this doesn't seem genuine. Like, this seems like someone's doing a character or doing a thing.
I got caught up in it when it first started. Because YouTube was still relatively new. There weren't a lot of talking heads on there like there are now. Not everyone is telling you how Star Wars is weak and gay or anything like that. But it felt earnest and kind of cringe. I didn't think we had a word
there
for
was
it.
a lot of that going on
Right.
the internet at that time.
So it felt kind of a piece of what was going on. So it didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel like there was anything necessarily fake about it. I think it also has to do with the production value. It was clearly a webcam. It's grainy as shit. It's clearly shot in someone's bedroom. It's a teenage girl being goofy. None of that screamed fake to me. Lo and behold, it was.
Can I tell you like probably the biggest tell?
Okay. Yeah,
And
please.
It's not the dorkable stuff.
Okay.
It's that all this context, like being like homeschooled and like the well, I guess the adorable stuff gets in there is like a lot of the people I personally knew, like young women who acted like that, were not what we would call conventionally attractive in the same sense.
Okay.
This was before hot people were on the internet.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was that old 4chan rule that there are no girls on the internet.
Right. They were there. They posted on Fiad. And
yes, they were.
And
Some of them are still there.
Lukavi.
Yeah, exactly. What eventually came out was that Bree was an actress by the name of Jessica Lee Rose. Now, she had been hired by a group, Miles Beckett, Mesh Flinders, Greg Goodfried, and Amanda Goodfried. They created an entire storyline about Bree, about her friend / future boyfriend Daniel, also known as Daniel Beast. Set up all these convoluted scenarios where, she and Daniel hung out and then they kissed. Typical teen melodrama stuff. It wasn't until later that they started dropping in stuff where, okay, now we understand that this isn't real, because Bree starts talking about this cult. That her parents want her to go do this ritual. Eventually, they had an entire storyline about the cult was coming after her. It got out of control, but it started out very, very simple. So the guy who created it, Miles Beckett, then a doctor, came up with the idea to stage it all. He hired a friend, Flinders, a filmmaker. They wrote a script. It was fascinating because it was so much going on behind the scenes. But at the same time, the actress who plays Bree, Jessica Lee Rose, as mentioned before, fresh off the bus, they get her on a contract. So no one's really seen her. This kind of follows almost that Blair Witch Project, that model of, okay, get someone who's an unknown, get him into a scenario that's believable at first, and then becomes something else. So it does kind of feel like they followed that Blair Witch model, but tried to make it serialized online. But I think that's the first time that I ever felt duped when that sort of thing came out, because, okay, this is just a story.
I remember it getting kind of funky like that. I forgot about the cult, but I remember it kept developing more and more characters, more more of a mythology. I had seen like a couple really early ones and only ever interacted with it from a far distance after that.
Yeah, so the casting call list from Craigslist was called Children of Anchor Cove. That was the casting call list. It was non-union. Right, it lasted for about a month. Yeah, a bartender by the name of Yusuf Abu Talib got the role of Daniel. Both of them had moved to Los Angeles very recently. And yeah, his one of the few to came into the audition, the Guardian again, not looking like he stepped out of an Abercrombie and Fitch catalog. Daniel was always meant to be dorky, so his look clearly worked in his favor. All he'd seen of YouTube at that point were a couple of videos of people falling over. Not only was this completely fake from the get-go, and the real trick is to not give the game away by saying this is absolutely real. And I think that's what Blair Witch did wrong. These people did so much like, we're not gonna have them be seen in public. It was fascinating. They figured out,
like Campbell Holocaust for the internet.
Yeah, kind of. They figured out how to goose the early YouTube front page to get more eyeballs on it. Like this Guardian article again, they mathematically figured out at what point in the video YouTube's algorithm would scrape the preview image. If it was a good freeze frame, you could get 100,000 more views. Miles figured out the algorithm. From then on, we could choose our freeze frame. we could make a freeze frame that was thematically connected to the episode. The viewer counts continued to rise, 6 months worth of episodes. YouTube became the fastest growing website on the internet that same summer. People were flocking there to see what it had to offer. And if you, like Bree, were a YouTuber who updated every 2 days, you were guaranteed to build a following. So this was the guys getting in at the right place at the right time with just the right type of content. This is like very clearly engineered almost from the beginning to be a hit.
And I mean, most of YouTube at that point, like I said, was like anime AMVs,
right?
You know, re-uploads of Wonder Shows and broken into like 12 parts. Because I think videos could only be like 5 or 10 minutes long at a time. So it would be like Wonder Shows in episode 1, 2, part 1 of like 6. And
yeah, there's like a 10-minute limit.
And then, of course, also, this was before there was a lot of content moderation. So you could get weird videos like a Mexican dude like taking a shit. It was really a strange time to be on YouTube.
Yeah, because that was one of our first episodes that we published was about the yellow pee-pee monster. Well, that was the early YouTube guy. It was the guy who would just walk into these bathrooms and start pissing everywhere.
Whom's among us?
Yeah, I mean, really. But according, again, the Guardian, as Lonely Girl 15 became the most subscribed channel on YouTube, beating Peter Oakley, a.k.a. Geriatric 1927, speculation grew. And so people started to figure out, hey, wait a minute. This isn't just some random blog. This shit has storylines. There was a forum that was created, but apparently it was created before Bree ever started posting. So that was red flag number 1. Pictures of Aleister Crowley were appearing in the background of the videos. Journalists from several organizations joined the hunt for Bree. So this New Yorker article from September of that same year, and there was a Silicon Valley Watcher was the blog. Matt Feremsky, 18-year-old son of Ton Feremsky, was the first to disinter a trove of photographs of the similar-looking actress who portrayed Bree. Then it all kind of broke. The masterminds of the videos, they found out who they were. They said the bedroom scenes were shot in Ramesh Flinder's home, in his actual bedroom, typically using nothing more than a Logitech QuickCam. Together with Grant Steinfeld, a software engineer in San Francisco, Mr. Flinders contrived to produce and distribute the videos to pique maximum curiosity. And so, yes, Mr. Steinfeld said we were all under NDAs. They had a lawyer involved. My first impression was like, wow, is this legitimate? Is this ethical? I was very concerned. But after he came to understand the project, Mr. Steinfeld said he came to believe that something truly novel was at hand. They were like the new Marshall McLuhan. The medium is indeed the message. They went to great lengths. It says here, Mr. Flinders and Mr. Beckett obscured their location by sending email messages as Bree from various internet computer addresses, including the address of CAA, the talent agency where the team's now represented. I mean, they filed the trademark in August, a couple months after the videos started. And the fact that they were found so quickly, because, I mean, again, this video started maybe a month or two before this, and it only took that long for people to figure out, okay, not only is this fake, here's the name of the actress, here's where they all are. Yeah, it says the series, which Mr. Flinders and Mr. Beckett plan to continue on a site overseen by them, may play differently with fans now they know for sure that Bree is an actress. Part of the appeal of the series was that the serious-minded, literate Bree offered an unbeatable fantasy, a beautiful girl who techie guys had something in common with.
Wow, girl on the internet.
A girl on the internet,
folks,
Brian.
it happened.
It did.
And you know what? It's likely to happen again.
Yeah, probably.
If
it hasn't already.
Folks, if you know of a woman or a girl on the internet,
yeah, give us a call, 314-246-9766. We'd like to know about it.
Yeah.
So we can investigate.
Do not lure us to a second location.
Well, yeah, of course, there's that. It's very strange because it only ran from June 2006 to August 2008. Yeah, that first blog, Dorkiness Prevails, 500,000 views in a week. By the time it was outed as a hoax, over 2 million views on YouTube.
That's insane.
Following the reveal that it was staged, the viewership went up. So by 2007, the series was getting about 300,000 to 900,000 views per episode. And again, these are going out twice a week.
It's quite an upload schedule.
By the end of the series, each video had collectively garnered 60 million YouTube views. But also the Internet Detectives was also a weird part of this.
Yeah, I forgot about this where they were like, looking at like the plants and like what birds could be heard or something like that. Like it got weird.
It got weird.
It got
real weird.
Catching and releasing. That's why. The kind of like catching and release, like freak guy stuff.
Okay.
The thrill of the hunt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, apparently there was a series of spin-offs. I don't know if you ever saw any of these. Kate Modern. That was July 2007 through June 2008 on Bebo. The fuck is Bebo? Bebo. A second Lonely Girl spinoff, LG-15 The Resistance. The fuck?
I'm coming for you, oh bungler.
Completely different cast, by the way. Daily content, video blogs, images, text blogs, and other information. And then...
Did she wear a pussy hat?
I don't know. That was, 2008? So, I don't know. It was a couple of years before that.
I was remember.
But then, 2016, on the 10th anniversary, a trailer for a relaunch was posted on their YouTube channel with the original actress returning as Brie. To date, no relaunch has materialized, so they posted this trailer for a thing that never actually happened. Apparently, they shot just a trailer, and then they never got everybody back together. Truly fascinating. I think a lot of people are in agreement that Lonely Girl 15 was the first time you could really say, well, YouTube has value in a different way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, okay, it's fake, but it's also telling a story in this short format, and I think that was a different thing. Yeah. I think even William Gibson's book, Pattern Recognition, owes some stuff to this because it's about short video that's released on the internet that tells a story and that leads people down this kind of rabbit hole. Well, a lot of things inspired and were inspired by this. I think it's much more impactful than I think it's ever really given credit for. The idea that you can do a long-form story on a YouTube type of site, like a video sharing site, was nothing that they'd really done before.
Right. And
so it's novel in that way. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's worth a revisit. Maybe I'm going to have to sit down and rewatch all of them, because I only watched a few just for this episode. And it's like, oh yeah, there's that whole episode where she has a fight with Daniel. And then I know it's such teen drama
stuff, and
once you start getting into the cult stuff, then it really takes off. Yeah, here it is. A change in my life.
So today I got some really cool news from my parents. I've been chosen to participate in a ceremony. The ceremony is a really big deal in my religion. They only have them once in a really long while, and it's very, very difficult to attend. My parents won't even be allowed to come. It's a big honor, and it's going to take a lot of preparation. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm going to have to memorize.
So that one's particularly interesting because I can see the green screen, where her face. And yeah. So that's kind of where we're shooting on a set.
I'm sorry. The Lanky Kong, Joel Happ.
Yes, my recommendations are completely.
Your recommendations is such a convenience. What do you mean? Like, have you seen the Curious George one?
Yes. Oh man,
you heard about Pizzagate?
Joel Haver, fantastic. I love that he got a bit of a cameo on the latest Smiling Friends.
That was so good, fantastic. So fucking funny.
But if it weren't for Lonely Girl 15, we wouldn't have the Joel Havers. We wouldn't have the even people who do this legitimately. People like Chat or you name it. Like somebody who speaks.
I guess
we
wouldn't even have the angry video game nerd.
We wouldn't. I don't think. At least, I mean, for the fact that they kind of set the tone and the style. That it's low frills, no budget.
Yeah,
and that worked for them. That was the time when no one was making money from online video, and now everyone is.
Allegedly.
The headline of that New York article was The Lonely Girl That Really Wasn't. Well, I'm pretty sure filming with a bunch of weird dudes, she was probably pretty lonely anyway. But
I bet like a starving actress just got off the bus.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was feeling a little lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to.
It was very successful. Well, here's something. Speaking of things that are very successful,
it's Shocked.jpg.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Shock.jpg.
Oh boy, Brian, we got one this week called Dysfunctional Family. Dysfunctionalfamily.org. There's a couch with an old lady on the far right with a drink in her hand, looking down at the family dog. There's a gentleman on the other side, on the left, falling asleep with a pillow in his hand. And in the middle is a guy nude with his shirt on, or with a
dress shirt, but otherwise completely naked.
And a dog licking him.
That is his deal. See, when you told me Dysfunctional Family, I thought it was the one that looks like some girl is like punching like a naked dude in the dick, and he's saying like, the guy totally looks like a dad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I'll have to find that one for next week. No, I like right in the breadbasket, and then below that, aside from more funny pictures and video, heyya.org is another photo, a gentleman on the right side of the couch this time, and next to him the young daughter, and then on the far side of the couch is, I guess, the mother.
Pantsless.
Dress pulled up, pantsless, cup of coffee in hand, slack-jawed. Very strange juxtaposition of pictures. But yes, she does not appear to have any underwear on either. And it's just very bizarre. I like this one because it's like, well, nobody's getting hurt. There's no doo-doo.
No pee-pee.
No pee-pee.
It's just weird.
Just weird. The one where it looks like the dog is licking his dick.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned a dog licking its own dick.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend, a week or two ago, I'm at work, and she sends me a text, and she's like, the dog fell asleep licking its own dick.
Oh, no.
Remember I showed you that photo?
Head buried in his crotch.
Snoring, apparently.
Yeah.
Just living the dream. I wish I could lick my genitals until I dozed off.
Oh, I mean, really, that would be comforting, I think, at a certain point. It doesn't even matter if you come. So
I don't think that was a concern of the dog. But
yeah, it's just for fun. It's just
for fun.
Yeah.
Just guys being dudes.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Dysfunctionalfamily.org. The headline, do you have a dysfunctional family? If so, tell us about it here. The here goes to 99.com. I don't know if it's even safe to, even with webarchive.org. Yeah, it's some
anime thing.
But yeah, this was the State of Shock sites. You could just do that.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, there's a dog about to lick a man's penis. On the Screamer Wiki where I found this, it's the comments are great. Site is defunct. Yeah, okay. All right. Most of these are. Anonymous number 2, heyya.org is stupid porn like I don't want to watch Pornhub.
And third one, LOL, the site doesn't work.
And most of these were like less than 3 years ago. Like, yeah, dude, this is from like the early 2000s. Or this says, it was closed 2016. So 2013 would have been the release date. And I don't know. You could do anything. You could do anything.
Do anything on the internet, folks. You'd be as gross and as weird as you like. Kambalaba.
Kambala.
Kamblala. Apparently, he gave some sort of press conference today where he came off incredibly incoherent. He's looking rough.
Mm-hmm.
My dude needs a 5-hour energy.
Oh, he needs to boof it.
Folks, I took the 5-hour energy in the caboose. I'm feeling great.
Stevie Nicks told me about that one, folks.
Well, that was gross.
Well, speaking of boofing, it's time for the breath mint.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
Brian, what do you got for us this week, buddy?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I was going to go see Folk Implosion last night, but tour never got back to us. I didn't want to spend $35 for a show that I was going to have to leave early.
Yeah, not great.
I mean, I could probably bothered someone and got put on the list, but I was super tired, and I was like, well, there goes the only chance I'm ever going to see Folk Implosion, probably.
Unless they're doing a state fair in a couple of years, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
I was just like, well. I mean, I was such a weird edgelord teenager that, kids in like Gummo were like big movies.
Were you a Folk Implosion fan? Did you?
I mean, that was a very celebrated soundtrack.
Sure.
And the way that was circulated around us was like, it's this weird band. They don't really have any other music. It's just this soundtrack, basically. I brought it up once to my brother about the movie Kids being like kind of a thing in my friend group when I was younger. I was probably like just out of high school. And I can't remember if it was for Christmas or for one of my birthdays, he had found a used copy of it at Amoeba, and he sent it to me as a gift. And I was like, if I get confirmation, shoot, I'll see if I can get them to sign the copy of the soundtrack. And but it didn't happen, but whatever. I think the one thing I want to talk about is Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Oh, have you watched the Scott Pilgrim show?
Just watched it in some of my rare free time over the last week or so.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I got caught up with The Reaper. That's the show the kids and I are watching, which is the guys the taking souls back to hell for the devil, played by Ray Wise. It's great stuff. But no, I did not catch up on the Scott Pilgrim show. So, good?
Fantastic.
Oh.
I mean, I guess your mileage may vary. It depends on how you feel about the original comic and how you feel about the movie. I found the comic to be really dry and dated.
Yeah.
Various parts of the comic did not age well.
Yeah.
It feels like deviant art.
Well, Brian Lee O'Malley even said as much in recent years.
He's a Canadian guy who drew a weird kind of manga style comic by like how to draw a manga book that you get like at a Scholastic fair.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But I was a big fan of the movie.
Yeah, me too.
A 1 in a million kind of cast. Just like talk about stars aligning.
God, yeah, Mae Whitman and Chris Evans, like everybody in it.
It's such a very imaginative and enjoyable movie.
Well, it's an Edgar Wright movie, so I kind of figured that was going to happen. He's got a bit of a track record for that sort of thing.
And I think it's also one of the few. I think with Scott Pilgrim the comic, the TV show, and the movie, it's one of the few things that has video game references that doesn't feel grown worthy. Like, it doesn't feel pandering, if that makes sense to say. Like, it's like, oh, this is like endearing.
Yeah, it doesn't make you cringe.
That the door that Ramona uses to go into the subspace is the door from Super Mario Brothers 2, or that her purse is the symbol that's on King Dedede's mallet.
Yeah.
And like all these little video game references, and they're just like, well, that's funny, and it doesn't draw a ton of attention to it.
Right.
It's like, there's a band that's mentioned called the Clash of Demon Head,
right,
and no one's like, oh, there's no one's explaining the reference.
Exactly. It's either you get it or you don't, and if you don't, that's fine.
Or Sex Bomb,
Yeah.
Like, just all like, it's world building, it's interesting, it's not too heavy handed, and the show brings back pretty much the entire cast from the movie.
Nice.
And is a reimagining of the original story.
Okay.
And it goes a lot of different places. It gives all the other characters, all the evil X's, a lot more room to breathe.
Yeah.
And I think that's great for a lot of different ways. Mostly because so many of those, like the actors that played the evil X's, they're only in the movie for 10-15 minutes a piece, but what memorable 15 minutes they have, and now they get the whole entire episode or even more than that to stretch out and be those characters, and it's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's thoughtful. Do you want me to spoil the big twist at the beginning?
I read the comics, so is it about
Matthew Patel kills Scott Pilgrim
Okay.
And he becomes the head of the evil X's and beats the shit out of Gideon and takes over Gideon's empire. And Gideon has to become like some schmuck. But Ramona is like, well, what the fuck? This guy I went on one great date with is now dead. And in her mourning, she explores her own inadequacies as a partner to these evil X's, and tries to make amends, or at least tries to soften the hurt. And I think it's a much more interesting story than fighting, a chick's evil ex-boyfriends so you can own her in a way.
True. That is the weird sexist thing that I always thought was unfortunately at the beating heart of that story. So
sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it goes, and there's other twists.
Sure.
But that's the
big one.
shift from the narrative that we already know. And
so Michael Cera's in it for like 2 seconds.
he's barely in it after the first episode.
Sure.
But he reappears at some
Okay.
point.
All right. Well, color me intrigued, because that's an interesting take, and I'm very interested.
The animation is fun. It doesn't have the Beck music, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's still good. It feels like a victory lap for that cast, and getting to tell I think honestly a much more interesting story than the original.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, if you're someone that liked the kind of tongue-in-cheek, low-key video game references, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. But if you really enjoy the sense of humor that the comic and the movie had, I think you'll really get a lot of it. And even if you're not super familiar with the original source material or the movie, I think it's a lot of fun. It just seems like everyone there is just having such a great time recording. It's something I thought is like, did we really need this? When I heard it was announced, like, do we need this? I mean, it's cool. It's the original cast. Kieran McCulkin.
I'm not going to correct you. Yes.
Am I saying it right?
Culkin.
There we go. Kieran Culkin. He's obviously such a much bigger star. Brie Larson is, and Chris
much
Evans.
Bigger stars, yeah.
But they're all just fucking chewing the scenery, and
I love it. And Mae Whitman's back, I'm assuming.
She's fucking funny. It's a celebration of that source material, and I feel as well as improving upon it. And for me, there's a lot of elements to that story outside of the more magical realism type stuff that is reminiscent of some of the stuff I went through when I was in my late teens, early 20s. It very much feels like a mid-millennial kind of story. If you break it down to like being in a crappy band, your loser friend who's dating a high schooler, just some of the circumstances, some of the characterization. I think if you're of a certain age, you probably had a Ramona Flowers at that age. That one person that was like a little too good, and you're kind of fighting for them, or you're trying to not let them go, or maybe the one you can't get over, because that's the thing with the evil X's on some levels. They can't get over her.
Can't get over her, yeah.
It was enjoyable. It's well animated. I laughed a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Well, that's always a good sign.
A lot of good, just Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. She had that small role in the movie. I'm sure her character gets a lot more room to breathe.
A lot more time, and they kind of run her shtick into the ground a little bit, but it's still a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, I consider myself hyped for this. I was not until I heard that big twist, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, like all of the evil X's, all of those voice actors, all those actors, they get to have so much more involvement in the story. Not all of them necessarily get deeper.
Sure.
But you get to have more time with them, more time for jokes or circumstances.
That's all you want sometimes from some of these people, yeah. I don't really need to know the inner motivations of the vegan guy.
Yeah. You don't really get into his inner motivations as far as being a vegan too much, but it's kind of funny that two of her evil exes are himbos.
Mm-hmm. What was the vegan guy in the movie? That was Brandon Routh, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I was want to make sure, because boy, he definitely has a look. Can you believe that that guy was Superman?
Wow, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He's 44?
Yeah.
He does not look 44.
He does not, no. I don't know if you ever saw the adaptation that he was in called Dylan Dog, Dead of Night.
No.
Pretty decent. Anyway,
okay.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. But if you have a special spot in your heart for the movie or the comic, I think you'll probably like the show quite a bit.
Awesome.
Amaguchi does a lot of the music. So they did a lot of the music for the beat 'em up game that came out.
Yes, I was about to say. They did a re-release of the video game right as the show came out.
I have it, and no one to play it with.
Oh, no.
I brought it over to a friend's house, and there was 4 of us there, or I logged into a friend's Xbox.
Yeah.
And we had 4 controllers, and they all lost interest in about 10 minutes.
Oh, not River City Ransom players, I take it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I had been like waiting probably a decade
oh, man.
to play this.
Oh, man. Well, because I got it on the PS3, and I've had it on this very same PS3 since I first got it, and because I bought it on the PSN store for like $15, and that was 2011 or so. So I still haven't beaten it, but I've gotten pretty far in it. But yeah, it definitely is made for more than one player. It feels like. But maybe one day.
What you got, Chief?
What I have is something that you brought to my attention, and that D dropped off a copy of. I mentioned it last week that I wound up watching Garfield instead. That's right, folks. The French horror movie Martyrs.
Do you hate Martyrs?
Do I hate Martyrs?
I hate Martyrs.
No. Actually,
I'm making a riff on I Hate Mondays.
Oh yes, I do. I yes, yeah. If it's like that, then yes. No, I did not hate Martyrs. I enjoyed Martyrs in a way that probably is going to put me on a list somewhere. So for those of you who are not in the know, Martyrs is a movie about 2 young women, one of whom had escaped from a kidnap and torture scenario, let's say, and was locked up in a mental institution. She gets out, she takes revenge on the family that, as she believes, performed this hideous act upon her, and then calls upon her friend, hey, yeah, you got to help me out. I've just killed like 4 people. Shit's fucked. And then things go sideways from there. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the movie, but I will say this. It is quite possibly the most visceral experience I've had watching a movie in a very long time. Not in a bad way, but just I felt things physically that I was not expecting to feel from watching a movie.
Yeah, it fucks with you.
It doesn't happen often. I think the only other movie that hit me that hard was probably Dancer in the Dark. For very different reasons. Well, I guess it's for the same reason, because I feel so much for the character that this is happening to. Yeah, things go off the rails. It's a movie about violence and religion, and it's also about horror movies, and like, why is it just women that all this violence happens to in horror movies? It's concerned with a lot of different things, and it does them all very, very well. To me, the funniest thing, because, it's really hard to kind of see the humor in something like this. But the funniest thing, and I think I mentioned this to you, is that on the DVD, there's an option to watch an introduction by the director. And so if you do that, it opens with, he's clearly just like in his home. And he's saying, yeah, I don't know what his exact words were, but the feeling you get is, I'm sorry for what's about to happen to you. It's kind of the vibe that I get from watching that intro. And he was right to be sorry, because it feels like a movie that you shouldn't inflict on someone. At the same time, I feel like everyone should see it.
Yeah, that back third.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It goes some places. Me and Dee were talking about a couple days ago, and she was like, the thing, like, it's probably of that era, probably that and like Serbia, a Serbian film, are probably like the 2 like most transgressive and like hard to watch horror movies of that time. But she put it is that Serbian film is just like grotesque and exploitative. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing here. These aren't her exact words.
Right.
But basically, like, it's shocking, it's gross, but it's like technically like not that great of a movie. Whereas like Martyrs is all those things, but is actually a well-made movie.
Also because I think Martyrs is saying something. as
Yes,
opposed to
yes.
just being exploitative for the sake of being exploitative. This was my conversation I had with Dee on Messenger here. It says, I was saying there's a reason for the brutality versus an Eli Roth hostile style of thing. It's also saying something about horror movies. And then she responds with, I feel that it said a number of interesting things about many topics. Fear of death, religion, trauma, the danger of rich people. It truly hit so many points and managed to have a coherent, unique story. So I think that's about the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Taking it straight from her, because she put the nail on the head there. I can't really say it any better, and honestly, I can't recommend it enough. But I will say, go into it knowing that it's rough. It's going to be a rough watch. I had to take a break about halfway through, and just take a quick walk around the yard for a minute to just get out of my head. Okay, let's get back to this. I want to see where this goes. Other movies I've done, Hostel Part 2, I just straight up walked away. I just never came back to it. This one, I feel like, is doing something on a level that Eli Roth just can't hit. Just can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
he apparently can't, because that Borderlands movie is, I think, as of this recording, has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 6%.
It has a 6%, but I think, if I remember correctly, 2 positive reviews. Screen Rant and MovieWeb, so not really the top critics there. David Fear, Rolling Stone, it's not a movie for critics, as the saying goes, nor is it suitable for consumption by most gamers, film lovers, or 99% of carbon-based life forms. Yowza! Nick Schlager of the Daily Beast, so drearily routine and slapdash that even an AI would deem it too plagiaristic. Ooh.
It looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
Don't put it on the Plex.
Okay.
I mean, we want to do a hate watch.
That's what I did with the remake of RoboCop.
I didn't think that was so bad.
It's 45 minutes too fucking long.
Yes.
It wastes Gary Oldman even being in the fucking movie. You got Samuel L. Jackson in it for no reason other than it's Samuel L. Jackson. You waste Michael Keaton. There's no fucking reason for half of these characters to be there. It also just takes all the fangs out of any social commentary that the original had. I feel like you could nuke 45 minutes to an hour off that movie and you'd still have a piece of shit. I have a very hard time with anyone remaking Verhoeven. It's the same thing with that piece of shit Total Recall remake with fucking Colin Farrell in the lead. But anyway, sorry. Martyrs, watch it. But watch it with the reservation that you probably won't like it at first. It will grow on you, but it's going to be rough. I don't think I can watch it again, but I will recommend it to anyone because it is ultimately worth it.
Speaking of Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
Have you gone back and rewatched the HBO limited series?
I have, actually. I
thought I rewatched a couple episodes and I was like, oh, this is worse than I remember.
Really? Because I had the opposite. I kind of had the opposite reaction. I really thought that it was a way to take what you already know and do something different with it. I thought it was an interesting choice. I thought this idea that cops have reclaimed the vigilante masked hero thing as their own was kind of like, yeah, of course that's what's going to happen. Because, I mean, you already see it with cops with the fucking Punisher shit all over their cop cars. So I felt like, okay, well, I guess that kind of tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that the first introduction we get to Lady Midnight is the fact that she's a cop.
Right.
Or that the coolest mask in the show is also a cop.
Right.
But I do like that we're still kind of on the trail of Dr. Manhattan. I like that we kind of see the diabolical punishment they gave to Ozymandias.
That part I forgot about, and that's kind of something that's really fun.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I think conceptually, it's like, well, how do you do something like that? Well, this is how. And I think for what it was, and I think the ending notwithstanding, I felt like, okay, all right, we're kind of copping out here, guys. With the expectation that there was going to be a second season, which never happened. But I feel like for the most part, it was an interesting ride. And it was an interesting extension of what we'd already seen. Stylistically, it looks great. I've always thought that the leads in that were all great. So, I mean, I don't really have a lot of complaints about it.
So what Nazi torture would you put David Lindelof under?
None. I love The Leftovers.
I definitely would put bleach in his eyes.
Really? I like The Leftovers, too. I like Lost. Was it just Watchmen, or was there something else that bothered you?
Oh, he's like got like a whole entire history of like being really sus.
Okay, personal wise,
like a creative individual.
Divorcing that from its
Leslie Lee the Third of Struggle Session.
Okay,
I think is really, if we wanted to bring someone on here.
Yeah, to disavow me of my Lindelof worship.
We'll bring him on.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll send him we're mutuals. I'll send him a DM.
Yeah,
DM and be
look,
will you come on the podcast for like 30 minutes
just to berate my co-host?
Because he thinks David Lindelof is got worth as a person.
I didn't say as a person. I said as a creator. There's a distinct difference. There's a distinct difference. Art from the artist. Fuck that.
I think the episode I went back to was the Hood Justice episode. Which I remember being one of the few episodes I actually liked when I originally watched it, but I was like, let me give it a shot. It's been a couple of years. And I'm like, this doesn't, I don't know if this hits.
I always felt like that was the strongest one of the bunch. Yeah.
I think so too. I think also with like the stuff about, some of the stuff it said about law enforcement in the era that it was made seems like a little bit anti-liberal.
Yeah.
And
sure.
But pro-cop.
Right. Again,
it's a very oddly conservative bit of media.
Yeah. Look, you get no argument from me. It was a very odd choice because a lot of people, their first exposure to the fact that there even was a Tulsa race riot was through that show. So it's like one step forward, two steps back because you've made all the heroes cops. It's a mess. It's got a lot of confused politics, let's say. Wow. That's worth a rewatch. I'll go back and look at it again.
I got some time off.
Well, in that time off,
where can people find me?
Where can people find you?
Man, there's a couple places. You can go over to, if you want to check out my photography portfolio, you head your sweet little cheeks over to assholemusicphotographer.com. If you want to check out some photos and words, you can go over to musicphotographer.com. If you want to check out the last and only good media website left in screwy St. Louis, head those cheeks henceforth over to a second location where you will not be mugged this time. Theartsstl.com. Some really good photos of Red Hot Chili Peppers that just went up. A lot of shows, a lot of stuff just went up the last week or so. My soft cult write-up and photos just went up. That piece, I feel I kind of really belabored. I had to edit out, I think, 500 words because it sounded like I was in a cabin listening to Bon Iver, cleaning guns.
Yeah, fair enough.
I really got a little black pilled there.
Oh man.
And I still left in quite a bit of black pilled shit in there.
Okay, you got to send me the unedited version because I.
Did you read the soft cult?
No, I only read the Orville Peck one.
Yeah, the Orville Peck is up, which I excreted out of my backside onto the keyboard.
Don't listen to him; it's good.
It's all right. You could definitely tell I was just trying to get done with it. But the photos I'm really happy with. One picture in particular is an image I don't think anyone else has ever made of Orville Peck. And I feel like that is special and unique.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff is kind of there's a lot of other people who have made similar photos to what I captured. Even other people that were at the same show photographing alongside me. There's some overlay. And composition and color and all of that. But one photo in particular, it's a side profile shot where he's got an expression on his face, and his eyes are just real piercing. And it's not a particularly sharp image. The focus is definitely not there, but it is striking.
It's the header, right? That's what they used for the header?
Yeah, the black and white
Oh,
photo.
it's so good.
Thank you. When I captured that moment, I knew.
Did you know? Yeah.
I knew that I had gotten something interesting. I did not know if the autofocus it had gotten was accurate enough.
Oh, wow.
Because the lighting was really low. And that image was captured at 1/100 shutter speed, which is really tough for a good image and for some of the movement that Peck was doing. But I kind of was just fingers crossed it would turn out okay. And it did. A little bit of luck. But I mean, for me, that's like if any of the photos that I took that night, that would be the one that I would like print and put on the wall. But one of the things I think that gets lost when you create photography that's got some sort of consumptive element to it, like music photography or some editorial, is that just having like a sharp, well-lit photo is really overrated. There's plenty of really great photographs that were taken with way more primitive equipment than we have today that are really engrossing and interesting, and the exposure isn't perfect. The focus isn't perfect. The lighting isn't perfect, but it's engrossing. It's about getting something that's almost like outside of the known. It's like you're capturing the light in the way that reality can't show. You're saying something that it's almost like you're pulling subtext out of the moment. And if that photo was tack sharp and a little bit more properly exposed, I'm not sure if it would be technically, in my opinion, a better photo. It would just be a nicer, a sharper an image. Right. What is considered to be good, I think, has become really narrow in photography in general. And that's why I've never had an issue using sometimes really weird lenses, using kind of odd gear, because I think the results are different. If I really wanted to just take super fucking nice photos, I'd go buy a Nikon Z6 Mark III and a bunch of their big fucking honking lenses, and I take the exact same photos as everyone else, but I shoot with slightly different equipment. Almost all the photos that I actually like besides that image were all photographed with a 135mm prime lens, and that kind of saved my ass because I really can work with that lens. Like, that's one that I don't have to think too much about using.
So you can shoot on instinct.
Pretty much. I feel much more comfortable using that lens, and it's weird because it's a telephoto lens. It's not even a portrait lens. It's a what you would call a wide telephoto.
Okay.
But you can use it for portraiture just fine. I mean, I remember when I felt that same way with a 50mm lens or a 35. So it's weird that that's the lens I feel really comfortable with now, getting back into it. But yeah, that's my little nice bit of artist corner here before I let Jason tell us his socials. Jason, tell us your socials.
Well, you can find me on many different places as Videocrime, VIDEOCRIME. Chances are, if there's video crime, that's going to be me. You know, places like Twitter and Blue Sky and Letterboxd and all that stuff, with the notable exceptions of TikTok and Instagram. There I am, Laser Goose CEO. That's laser with an S. You can also find me as part of the cast of International Weirdos on a show that is called Submitted for the Approval of the Midnight Pals, based on the Twitter thread by Bitter Corello, former guest of the show, where I play a fictionalized version of Stephen King. We are on track for Halloween being our second season premiere. Very excited for that. You can reach out to the show in a variety of different ways. The best of which, of course, is the telephone, 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO. You also shoot us an email, jason@48minutesofdogsbarking.com, Brian with a Y at 48minutesofdogsbarking.com. Support the show, patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. If you'd like to catch up with your Thanks I Hate It, that is a weekly post-show hangout where we shoot the shit, talk about stuff that maybe didn't fit the main episode. If we get 10 members at the $10 level before the end of the year, we are going to record a 90-minute commentary track on the Japanese Puke Fetish Video, Garo, Monster, Home, Delivery.
Yes, sir.
Hoo-wee! Can't wait.
God, we might just do it anyways.
I know. We should probably just do it.
What we should do is we should do it and not release it.
No, until
we get to 10.
Exactly.
Fucking
hold it
fuck
hostage.
You pay me.
Yeah. You'll never know unless you do the thing. So patreon.com/4minutesofdogs.
I ain't saying it won't make your pecker an inch bigger, but I ain't saying it won't either.
Exactly right. Well, that about does it for the show. Thank you so much for listening. My name's Jason. This is Brian. As we always say at this time, namaste. Good luck. Give mommy a good gut fucking.
Eat the knife.
Eat the knife. Thank you.